So you tell me you're going to sell a product similar to a competitor, but slightly cheaper, and you think it's going to attract all the consumers to you. And I tell you, it depends on the context. Let's understand why. So there's a series of studies that have been done to understand why people may drive further to buy something depending on relative prices. So they've done studies on, let's say you have a latte at $5 far away or $10 very close. A lot of people would actually drive that extra distance to save that $5. And then you'd have the same kind of distances apply, but you could either buy a TV at a certain distance for $1,000 or closer at $1,005. In the case of the TV and the coffee, from a rational perspective, in both situations, you're driving the same distance to save $5. So both of them, relatively speaking, you have to put in an extra effort for the exact same financial gain. Do you behave the same way in both situations? Economics, rational person would say yes. If you feel that that extra driving is worth the $5, you will do it in both cases. No, you won't do it in either. But actually, in practice, what they notice is that most people drive the extra distance to pay less for the coffee and don't drive the extra distance to pay less for the TV, even though it's the same $5 reduction. Why is that? Because the distance with the coffee is the same, but the relative price of the coffee is not the same. If you're paying $10 closer by or $5 over there, you have extra things that kind of mix in. When you're paying twice the amount for a certain product, you feel taken advantage of. And therefore, there's a negative feeling that adds on. Whereas if you're paying $5 more for a TV that's $1,000, that's like 0.5%, it's nothing. So you don't really feel that taken away. You're kind of like, well, it's a little bit more, but it's already $1,000. It's just like 0.5% more. It's not a big deal. So even though we're dealing with the same price, one comes with this negative sentiment, whereas the other one doesn't so much. So context has a big influence here. Irrational behavior would say you behave the same way in both, but in behavioral economics, we say no. It actually depends. And I've gone through these in the past as well, and I find that sometimes you adjust throughout your life. I remember when I was younger and I'd go to an outdoor music festival, I'd go there and I'd enjoy it. And at some point in the afternoon, evening, I'd get really thirsty. And I'd see the people selling bottled water, and I'd be like, wow, they're like way overcharging. There's no way I'm going to buy the water here. So either I would stay thirsty longer, or I'd actually leave site to go get water at home or somewhere else for much cheaper and then come back. But if you think about it, it doesn't make sense. You're there, you've paid like several $100s to be at that music festival, you're enjoying it. And if you start getting dehydrated, starting getting a headache, it doesn't make any sense for you to actually not buy that bottled water. But it's just because the price is so large relative to the value that you perceive of it, that you have a situation that you decide to disregard it and not want to buy it. I'd say with age, actually, I now buy the bottled water. I've kind of realized that there's more to it than just kind of like, oh, I'm overpaying, yes, but at least I'm experiencing this more. Same kind of idea as if you're on a vacation, sometimes you might not pay for the extra activities. You might just go always for the free option and not take the tour of this or the expedition of that. And then you realize later on you've traveled a lot of the world, but you haven't seen all the sights just because you felt it was too expensive. And I agree, some of those experiences are expensive, but going back to that location and doing all that again is actually way more expensive. So sometimes that little add-on could be worthwhile. You don't want to have to go back to do those experiences once again. So hopefully you guys got switched on in this context-dependent situation, and we'll talk more about it in the future, and I wish you have a great day. If you found this video interesting, please consider subscribing or joining my class where I guide you to apply and expand on the information found in these videos to real-life examples. Have a good day.